This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on January 8th, 2025, and was posted on Borough Hall website at www.hbborough.com and on the bulletin board of Borough Hall, 221 South 5th Avenue in Highland Park, New Jersey, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. The fire exits are to my right and left of council chambers. And I'm going to ask Noah if he could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Foster.
Yes.
Councilmember George. Councilmember Hale.
Here. Councilmember George is absent.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Here.
Council President Kim Chohan.
Here.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Here.
Councilmember Vargas.
Here.
Borough Attorney Shaw.
Here.
Borough Administrator Rivera.
Here. And we're going to go to awards and presentation. And there's someone in our audience that's really special tonight that he definitely needs to be recognized by us. And when Councilmember Hale mentioned this young man at our high school and how amazing he was, and then I read the article in the newspaper, I was like, wow. I went to visit him at the school. And I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Hale to just do a little blurb.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. So last month, residents of Highland Park saw a very large news story in the Home News Tribune about the accomplishments of Highland Park High School senior Noah Berlin Langston, a wrestler who just won the Region 5 title and qualified for the state tournament. This accomplishment is no shock to those who know Noah and have followed his athletic career. He was 37-2 in 24 and 25 and 33-4 the year before. Noah is credited Mike McKenna, the owner of McKenna's Gym in Highland Park, for his help and training. He started as a power lifter and then moved over to wrestling. Highland Park High School athletic coordinator and head wrestling coach Craig Gierman for all of the support. In a visit to Highland Park High School back in March, the mayor met with Noah and the coach and the principal, congratulating Noah on this remarkable win. And thank you very much, Noah, for lifting local pride in our town. So we wanted to wish you continued success. Noah and his parents, Tom and Lisa, we were neighbors a long time ago, and I remember Noah being a lot smaller than he is right now. He has certainly grown not only as a wrestler, as an adult, but he's a big dude. And he certainly shows it out there on the wrestling mat. Both my sons wrestled. I wrestled for a year and spent most of my time on my back. So I know exactly how tough it is to be a really top-notch wrestler. It takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of effort. And perseverance, grit, all of those types of things. So we just wanted to make sure that the whole town knew about your accomplishments. You come from a great family, and we're very, very happy and proud to recognize all of your success. And thank you very much for doing it here in Highland Park.
Can we get a picture? Resident photographer Hirsch.
All right.
Thank you. Good to see you.
You go next to him because I look like before and after.
Very, very cool. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words? Or would Mom like to say a few words?
Oh, do you want to take?
I think maybe.
I mean, I'll say a few words. It
I'm
was
gonna
just,
let you use the microphone because we really want to hear what you have to say.
Sure.
Thank you.
it was just an absolute pleasure coaching Noah. I told the story numerous times. He's a guy that came out for wrestling as a sophomore And he didn't win very much at the beginning, and wrestling is a really, really tough sport, and here we are, 2 years later. He wins the region tournament, it's like a 3-county tournament, it's a huge tournament, and it's a very big deal. We've only had one other region champion in school history, so this was a fantastic achievement. And he's also just great with the younger kids in the program. He's like having a third coach, and we will certainly miss him a lot next year. It's been a great experience, and I just want to say thank you and congratulations and great work. And Noah's going off next year. He's going to wrestle at Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken. So I'm hoping I can sneak up there a little bit and see it in the future too. So congrats and thanks, Noah.
I'd love to talk really
Please
quick.
do. Yes.
So thanks a lot for having me. I'm pretty honored. It's cool. And I'm glad I was able to bring pride to the town. Like, that's a nice thing to hear. But I think a lot of people see Highland Park as a small town and see it as a sign of weakness, but I see that that can be a sign of strength, and that can be something really good for our athletic programs and the people in this town, because we're a really tight-knit community, and when we get behind something or someone, great things can happen. So just on the wrestling team alone, I've seen kids who are not in as good of financial spots, and the team comes together to help them get to tournaments or clubs or things like that. And I just think, you know, we have an opportunity in a small town like this with a lot of very smart people in the town who, you know, we can really help bring up the next generation of athletes and people like me. And I don't have to be someone who's so special. I really hope that the next few years in Highland Park, people are able to go past what I've achieved. Like, I don't have to be someone who appears every decade. I think we have the facilities and the coaching, well, maybe not the facilities, but the coaching staff, the coaching staff, and we have the people that it takes to be one of the top, you know, Group 1 programs in the state. And just, you know, when people really rally behind it, great things can happen. So I hope I get to be a bit of a catalyst for that in the future. And just thanks for having me. And yeah, keep me in Highland Park.
Now I can see why they think you motivate the younger kids. That's very motivational speech that you gave. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I gotta go to practice though.
Oh, you're excused. You can go right on ahead. Thanks for coming. Roll call.
Who did roll call?
We did roll call? No, we did honors. Oh, yeah, we did roll call. Oops. Okay, sorry. Still on that page. I got caught up. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of February 25th, 2025 work session, March 11th, 2025 regular meeting, and executive session meeting, March 18th regular meeting as distributed?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Sorry, me?
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
And now we're gonna move into council report, Councilmember Postelnick.
First tonight, thank you, Mayor. So my name is Jason Postelnick. I'm the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee of the Borough Council. I just have a brief report for tonight. There were just a couple items on the agenda that I wanted to highlight. The first up is a resolution authorizing an application to the State Department of Environmental Protection for a grant to help with the purchase of a very much needed community bus. This grant will provide us the extra funds that are needed to acquire an electric shuttle bus. It's been a goal of ours that best meets our needs. So I just want to encourage all of my council colleagues to support this resolution so we can move forward with acquiring this community bus and get back to providing a full range of transportation services to our residents. The other thing was just a little shout out for we have up for appointment tonight, Marion Costanza to the Board of Health. Marion brings a wealth of experience in mental health issues. So I think she'll be a great contributor in that area, which will be a new field that the Board of Health will be starting to pick up some work on. and I wholeheartedly recommend her for this appointment. And lastly, just wanted to talk about the upcoming food distributions for the month. The HP will be providing free groceries every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Zone 16 Center and 600 Pender Street. And the Highland Park Food Pantry distribution will also be providing free groceries on the second and fourth Thursdays of the month from 9 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And on the Saturdays of those same weeks, the second and fourth, from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And that'll be at the Highland Park Community Center at 220 South 6th Avenue. And that was my report for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Vargas.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Monaides Vargas, and I am the Council Liaison for Arts and Recreation. I am pleased to share some important updates, upcoming events happening in our community. The Department of Aging will host a presentation by the New Jersey Division of Civil Rights on protecting housing rights. We invite everyone to attend this presentation on Tuesday, April 8th from 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Highland Park Community Center. This is a great opportunity to learn about your rights and engage in an informative discussion about what constitutes bias and how to report it. There will be an Atlantic City trip on April 29th. You can join the community center. It is open to the public. This trip is on April 29th. The cost is $45, which includes bus transportation and a $20 player's credit. This trip, again, is open to all the community members. I actually had the pleasure of going last year with my father. We had a fantastic time with fellow residents on the bus, and once we arrived there on the way back. So for more information or to register, please call 732-819-0052 or visit the community center and stop by their office. We have some exciting upcoming events, Memorial Day Parade. Please mark your calendars for these events. The Memorial Day Parade will take place on May 26th at 11 a.m. We'll be starting at the Joe statue. Weather providing, if it does rain, it does inclement weather, it will take place indoors at the community center. Arts Back concert series is coming up. Join us for these concerts in Donaldson Park. We'll be starting on July 17th, July 31st, August 14th, and August 28th between 6 and 8 p.m. Please check the Borough's Facebook page or any of their social media or the Department of Recreation social media for more details. And of course, fireworks in the park will be July 3rd at Donaldson Park. Festivities begin at 6 p.m. with fireworks at 9:15. Spring youth programs are ongoing. Please register now. We'll be starting up soon. They'll be having youth soccer, youth tennis, and classes, basketball, academy, and girls wrestling. These programs do help children develop new skills, build confidence, stay active while having fun. Spaces are limited, so don't wait to register. Please visit highlandparkrec.com for more details or call the community center at 732-819-0052. Last week, I had the honor of attending the Windows of Understanding closing ceremony at the Highland Park Library. Excuse me. As a council person and liaison to the Art Commission, it was deeply meaningful to be part of this initiative, having previously participated when I was on the Human Relations Commission. I want to commend the Arts Commission for their collaboration with incredible organizations such as the Art Institute of Middlesex County, the New Brunswick Cultural Center, Rutgers Mason School of Arts, the Pride Center of New Jersey, and our very own Zone 6 Teen Center, and many others, as well as all the artists involved who pour their hearts and soul into every piece of art. This year's theme emphasized the impact of climate change on underserved communities and the future of generations to come. Addressing these issues is vital to ensuring that everyone has the ability to breathe, eat, work, and flourish in a sustainable environment. Also, in honor of Local Government Week, which takes place between April 6th and 12th, I will be participating in a coffee and conversation event, which is an opportunity for community members to meet with the mayor and council members. I will be at La Casita Restaurant, located at 421 Remington Avenue on April 6th, between 12 and 1 p.m. for some Mexican cafecito. So if you know anybody that speaks Spanish and wants to connect with the local government, please come and bring them along. It'll be nice to connect with those community members. And lastly, I want to give a special thank you to Senator Cory Booker. I really want to express my gratitude to him for his remarkable leadership. When I first heard that he was going to hold the Senate floor for as long as possible to amplify the voices of countless Americans, I wasn't sure if it was possible. Historically, the longest filibuster was held in 1957 by Strom Thurmond, who stood for 24 hours and 18 minutes in opposition to the Civil Rights Act, a moment driven by racism and determination to prevent Black Americans from voting. But now that record has been broken by Senator Booker, and as of the starting time of this meeting, he is still on the Senate floor. And he's using his time to fight for those who need their voices heard. His dedication as a public servant represents the best of what leadership should be, and I am incredibly grateful for his tireless work on behalf of our state and country. Thank you, Senator Booker, for standing up for all of us.
Wholeheartedly concur. Councilmember Hill.
Hey, everybody, my name is Matt Hale. I chair the Economic Development Commission. So last week we had a meeting at River Ridge as part of the mayor's Bring Government to You effort. We had Assemblyman Karaminchik and Sterling come to speak to the residents and others at River Ridge to talk about the state New Jersey tax program. And we also had some good discussion on downtown redevelopment talks and infrastructure in Highland Park. So it was a great event. We look forward to doing more of those. But I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone who came out to River Ridge last week. On that same theme, as Norma mentioned, next week is the League of Municipalities Local Government Week. I'm also going to be participating. I'm going to be at Giddy's, which is 17 North 4th, on Tuesday, April 8th from 12 to 1, eating as much pizza as I possibly can. But also meeting with folks. So please come on by and I will be there. You'll notice that on tonight's agenda, we have a number of different lease renewals that are coming up. These are agreements between the borough and a variety of different nonprofits for temporary use of some of the properties owned by the borough. We have the Racist Cultural Center, which is using the environmental building down on River Road. The Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership, which is using the old gas station at 101 Raritan. Main Street offices, which are currently at the farmer's market lot. And then the Reformed Church is also using things at the old Gun and Boat. All of those are properties that we own, but we're also able to lease those out on a temporary basis for all of the nonprofits that I listed. And it's a sort of way of giving them some temporary space for some of the things and the activities that we use. And then as we move ahead with our redevelopment, we'll move ahead that way. But it's really nice to be able to help these different groups out. As in the economic development bucket, we talk about neighborhood participation program. Again, one of the things that the steering committee has decided to do some work on is Carsey Park, which is one of our larger parks, but one that could use some tender love and care. So we are in the process of trying to come up with an overall strategic plan about all of the things that need to be done at Carsey Park, which we can implement over time. So I'm looking forward to that. If you have any suggestions or ideas or things that you want at Carsey Park, please reach out to me and we'll make sure that those are in the mix. And then finally, remember that the farmers market is up and running and ready to go. So please come out every Friday afternoon to support the farmers market. And with that, that's my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Hirsch.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. My name is Matthew Hirsch. I chair the Public Works and Public Utilities Committee. It's nice to see so many people here tonight. Just a few things to update you on in my neck of the woods. Keep a lookout for Middlesex Water companies coming through doing some leak repairs. On North 10th, on Thursday, April 3rd, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., the road will be closed between Abbott and South Park Avenue. And then on 31 Lincoln Avenue on Friday, April 4th, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Lincoln Avenue will be closed from Route 27 to Walter Avenue. North Adelaide Avenue will be closed from Route 27 as well. Thanks, Chief, for dispatching an officer to be there to monitor the progress there.
Please let us know if anybody has any questions or concerns regarding this work. And if you are concerned that you may have a water main break or a leak, please report it immediately. It's really important that we're able to get out there and address it as soon as possible. I don't know if you heard the sound yesterday. I certainly did, of sunny weather and 70-degree temperatures, but spring is here. And I'm guessing it was just the sound of the sun crossing the equinox, but it's really exciting. And with spring being here, it also opens a lot of doors in the public works space. So this year, I am excited to share that the borough's ambitious tree planting program will continue with the addition of 100 new shade trees along our borough streets. This effort will start taking place on or around April 8th. And as such, Highland Park Shade Tree Advisory Committee, which I'm liaison, has scheduled its Caring for Our Trees webinar on Monday, April 7th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. During the session, the Shade Tree Advisory Committee will answer your questions and offer tips for how you can help Highland Park's young trees grow and thrive. It's critical that the young trees that are planted are maintained, watered, and taken care of. And we are asking that if there is a tree near your home, that you participate in that maintenance. We can lose up to 20% of those young trees for any reason in the first year. So making sure that those trees can thrive and someday become tall, beautiful trees like the rest in town is really important. This is also a rescheduled date. So if you were trying to attend 2 weeks ago, we apologize for the technical difficulties, but Monday, April 7th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Also, did you know that the borough has a gas leaf blower task force composed of member of the Borough Council, the Board of Health, Sustainable Highland Park, and the Environmental Commission? The gas leaf blower task force is exploring community concerns or issues related to gas powered leaf blowers, like the state legislature and other communities throughout New Jersey are doing. We are all interested in healthier, cleaner, and quieter landscaping options. And to start off this discussion in earnest, the gas leaf blower task force held one public information session at the library 2 weeks ago and is planning additional meetings. Please stay tuned. Please keep a lookout for a survey, and we really want everybody's feedback as we move forward. In public works, just a reminder that it is April. Bulk waste collection takes place starting this month and will take place in April, May, June, September, and October. Pickups are scheduled on Wednesdays, again, during the months of April, May, June, September, and October, but they are by appointment only. So if you need to make an appointment, please call Public Works at 732-247-9379. Each household may request up to 2 scheduled collections per year. However, please keep in mind that the week after the townwide garage sale, Tuesday, September 17th through Thursday, September 19th, there will be bulk pickup. No appointment is necessary for that. So if you have things to unload, if you are cleaning out your basement, you do not need an appointment for that. But please note that recycling will not be collected during the week of September 16th through September 20th. A note, and it's very, very early, but you know, I just it's good practice just to say it as we announce it. But you know, with bulk pickup, there are also a number of options in town where folks may be looking for something secondhand, gently used. So you know, it's really important to also see if some of those items that you may not be using anymore can find a home of their own. And I would just strongly encourage you looking to your neighbors or checking out Swap Me at Highland Park or any of the number of online forums that where you can find good, gently used items from your neighbors. Okay. I will also be part of the Coffee and Conversation series, I think as we all are. And I will be at a Kihi Tea Shop on Monday, April 7th. At 5 p.m. That's at 248 Raritan Avenue at the corner of South 3rd and Raritan. So please stop by. I will be having a bubble tea of some sort, and really looking forward to, you know, I love Akihi. I love their hours and I love their customer base. They have a real energy that they bring into the store, and I think their hours are really favorable for students, for high school students, for college students. So when they keep those late hours, it brings life to town. And that's definitely one of the highlights of the summer, to see that type of activity right here, late night in Highland Park. I did just want to echo Councilman Vargas's appreciation for Cory Booker as he takes a stand against unconstitutional cuts hitting New Jersey. Cory Booker's stand on the Senate floor is to speak out against a government that prioritizes billionaire tax breaks over working families, veterans, and essential public services. These unconstitutional cuts are reckless, and they cut critical services like education, public health, and these are, as I said at the last meeting, we haven't even begun to feel the effects of this, and they are coming to hit home in New Jersey. Senator Booker's leadership could not have come at a more critical time. And these cuts aren't just numbers in a budget, they're real attacks on New Jersey families, schools, and public health. And all the while, we have an unelected billionaire running the show, waging his own personal war against students, seniors, veterans, and working families while clearing the way for massive tax cuts for the ultra wealthy. As budget cuts hit home and workers are laid off, the ripple effect will also create new inefficiencies, disrupting essential services, straining local economies, and adding unexpected burdens to state budgets. These cuts are devastating, and they're creating new obstacles that will make it harder for communities and businesses to thrive and function in New Jersey. And I think Councilman George at the last meeting said something along the lines that these cuts will not result in tax relief for you, for us, for anybody. These services are going to have to be made up at the state and local levels, and we have to see how that's going to shake out. 31% of New Jersey's budget, state budget, comes from the federal government. 31%. That's a third of a proposed $58 billion fiscal year 26 budget. So let's put that into consideration, particularly when we look at the funding for county services, funding to do things like Code Blue, funding for local projects like park restoration, road improvements, and so much more. And I just wanted to add one more number, that federal funds support over 50% of key New Jersey State Department budgets. So really put that into perspective as we're listening to so-called efficiency maneuvers take place at the federal level. They are not. It is really intended to dismantle the federal government, and I feel that this is nothing short of a coup. So we really do need to look out and really prepare as we move forward. Really listen to what the gubernatorial candidates are talking about in this election, and really pay attention to the state budget cycle, because I think next year Highland Park and every other town in the state are going to have critical decisions to make when it comes to local investment. That's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
And Council President Kim Cho-Han.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Kim Cho-Han, and I am the chair of finance. First on the agenda tonight is the 2025 introduction of the 2025 municipal budget. I'd like to thank our business administrator, Terry Hobert, for working in this tough, challenging year, and also the finance department that's led by CFO Naraya Chapman, who leads also under reports to her as the tax department as well, as far as other departments as well. That falls under her. And lastly, my colleagues, who we went back and forth, some portfolios had to take some cuts due to federal funding, and just very tight year that we had to run with, and also getting numbers, working with the school as well. So I really appreciate everyone's patience and understanding for this year's budget. And last month, the Rent Control Board convened to discuss several important topics regarding the ordinance changes, including exemptions, the CPI calculation, vacancy decontrol, and just and fair returns. So I look forward to hearing more on these matters. And next Wednesday, April 9th, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., I will be at the Meet You Tea and Flower Shop located at 114 Raritan Avenue for Local Government Week, as many of my colleagues will throughout the week as well. So stop by and we can discuss whatever you like, from your music, from what's going on, current events, local events. And I'll give you some suggestions as well if bubble tea isn't your thing. You can leave with a bouquet. April marks the 22nd anniversary of Financial Literacy Month, a time dedicated to promoting financial education and empowerment as inflation, global events, and economy pressures continue to challenge households. Enhancing financial literacy has never been more critical. So I encourage you this month as an opportunity to expand your financial knowledge. Consider reading a personal finance book, listening to a financial podcast, or taking a free online course. It's never too late to start. Also take this month to look at all of your subscriptions. Apple seems like they charge us every other day. I know there's some kind of something going on with that. So just that will be a good start to this month, is look at your subscriptions. And that's my report.
Thank you. I'm gonna flip right back over to Councilmember Brooks, and I think he has something he wants to add to his report.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I do have an addendum to my report. And it's only something that's like right in front of my face and highlighted in bright yellow. But I did neglect to mention, and I promise this wasn't just because I'm an introvert and was trying to bury this, but I will be at Politicon next Wednesday, April 9th from 1 to 2 p.m. Available to talk about anything that may be on your mind. Come share a cup of coffee, or you get they have fresh squeezed orange juice, pastries. I have recommendations. I've had, I think, just about every single one that they have: cookies, sandwiches, salads. That place is amazing. We can literally break bread. They have fantastic bread. So I look forward to you joining me this coming Wednesday, next Wednesday, April 9th, 1 to 2 p.m. Politicon. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. For Administrator report.
No, Mayor, I don't have a report tonight. Thanks.
For Attorney's report. And now it's time for my report. I'm gonna echo what everybody else has been saying. Next week, it's local government. This was sponsored by the New Jersey League of Municipalities, a statewide event, and it's called Local Government Activity Week. And I also will be joining the rest of the group. And on April 9th, I will be at Penstock Coffee. I think I need the coffee right now because their coffee is super strong and super good. So I will be at Penstock Coffee, and that will be from 2 to 3 p.m. Come on out and bring your questions that you may have. And also support local businesses. That's really important, that we support the local businesses that are in town, and and we have a good time with them, and bring your questions that you may have. We also have a Park Partners grant coming for 2025, and it's open to residents of Highland Park, and it's $2,000 that will be awarded. The following categories could be from environment, art, cultural and diversity, safety, universal access, health and wellness. And it's open to Highland Park High School students as well, and clubs. So come on out. If you're interested, go to the website and look up Park Partners Grant. This information is there, or reach out to Harry Glazer and he will provide you that information. The deadline is May 13th at 1 p.m. So I hope that you will apply. And in the past, I've seen some really creative grants come my way, so I'm quite sure that's going to happen again this time. And that is my report. And now it's time for our first public participation. 21 minutes total, 3 minutes per speaker, limit to items on this agenda. Comments from members of the public attending in person will be heard first, followed by persons who are on Zoom. If you're in Zoom, just press the Zoom button, raise hand button. First public comment.
Everyone, thank you so much for your reports. I just had something really quick I wanted to share.
May I have your name, please?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Rachel Timke, I'm down on South Second. I just wanted to lend my support and say thank you to the town for leasing the space to Raíces Cultural Center. They're just a really wonderful organization. As just a resident of Highland Park, taking classes there, they're just such great people, and I love that they're using that space. So I hope that they get their lease again, and thank you for giving it to them in the past.
Anyone else? Sorry, we have one on Zoom.
I do see a hand up on Zoom, phone number ending 445. Please state your name, let us know who you are.
Hello, Lois here calling to the satellite people. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. On your agenda, number 12D, ordinance 25-2109, you're authorizing the lease, I think it's a continuing lease of the second floor of Main Street, 212 Raritan Avenue, to the Reformed Church to maintain an emergency shelter for residents. P.S. That is illegal federally wise, not my law. Back in 2019, early 2020, when you had a ramp installed finally on Main Street, I was speaking to, I believe it was the Access Board down in DC, and also the technology people in Department of Justice that are accessibility experts and answer questions for free. And it was very specific that if it was an apartment was rented out, up to 4 apartments the government owns can be rented and do not have to be accessible because other places should be available. But it could never be a shelter. Both the Access Board told me that and Department of Justice. I'm all for it, but I'm just letting you know, and maybe no one will care at the federal level anymore, but a shelter has to be excluded from an upstairs apartment because it is not acceptable. Apparently, I can get more information, but just to let you know, it's probably been fine, but it might not be. I think that's all I have to say until the final public session. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, Mary, no other hands up.
Seeing no, may I have a motion to close public participation?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance requiring a second reading. Clerk, can you report on ordinance number 25-2105?
An ordinance amending and repealing Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 150, Contracting Reform, Article 1, Redevelopment Agreements, Article 2, Public Contracts Pay-to-Play Reform of the Code of the Borough of Highland Park has been duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file.
Now it's time for public hearing on this ordinance. If you would like to speak on this ordinance, please come up to the microphone, identify yourself. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. Anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom, and just for the record, there are 3 attendees.
Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public hearing on ordinance number 25-2105.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
May I have a motion to adopt or reject ordinance number 25-2105?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Ordinance requiring first reading. Clerk, please report on introduction of ordinance number 25-2106.
An ordinance authorizing the lease of a building located at 20-40 River Road to the Raíces Cultural Center by the Administrative Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
Motion to approve or ordinance or reject ordinance number 25-2106, authorizing publication as required by law and set up public hearing for April 15th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Clerk, please report on introduction of ordinance number 25-2107.
An ordinance authorizing the lease of a building located at 101 Raritan Avenue to the Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership by the Administration Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to approve or reject ordinance number 25-2107, authorizing publication as required by law and set up public hearing for April 15, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Clerk, please report on introduction of ordinance number 25-2108.
An ordinance authorizing the lease of the first floor of a building located at 212 Raritan Avenue to Main Street Highland Park to maintain office space by the Administration Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to adopt or reject ordinance number 25-2108, authorizing publication as required by law to set a public hearing on April 15, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Clerk, please report on introduction of ordinance number 25-2109.
Ordinance authorizing the lease of second floor of a building located at 212 Raritan Avenue to the Reformed Church of Highland Park Affordable Housing Corporation to maintain an emergency shelter for residents by the Administration Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to adopt or reject ordinance number 25-2109, authorizing publication as required by law and set up public hearing for April 15, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Clerk, please report on introduction of ordinance number 25-2110.
An ordinance authorizing the lease of 127-133 Raritan Avenue to the Reformed Church of Highland Park Affordable Housing Corporation to maintain a storage or repair area for donation of household items, first floor, and an affordable housing unit, second floor, by the Administration Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to adopt or reject ordinance number 25-2110, authorizing publication as required by law and set up public hearing for April 15, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Ordinance number 25-21-11, capital ordinance. Oh, clerk, please report the introduction of ordinance number 25-2111.
Capital ordinance providing for improvements to North 10th Avenue and Volker Street project by the Finance Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to adopt or reject ordinance number 25-2111, authorize publication as required by law and set up public hearing for April 15, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Clerk, please report on introduction of ordinance number 25-2112.
An An ordinance amending and supplementing administrative legislation, chapter 72, salaries and compensation to establish positions and provide compensation for specific employees of the Borough of Highland Park, New Jersey by the Finance Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to approve or reject ordinance number 25-2112, authorizing publication as required by law and set up public hearing on April 15, 2025.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Resolution requiring a separate reading. Clerk, please report on introduction of the 2025 municipal budget.
Municipal budget of the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex for the fiscal year 2025, be it resolved, the following statements of revenue and appropriation shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2025. Be it further resolved that said budget be published in the Home News Tribune in the issue of April 6, 2025. The governing body of the Borough of Highland Park does hereby approve the following as budget for 2025. A hearing on budget and tax resolution will be held at Borough Hall on May 6, 2025 at 7 p.m. at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2025 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested parties.
Budget presentation for administrator.
Thanks, Mayor. Give me a moment. I want to share my screen. Nice numbers here. Thank you. It's right in front of my face. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to present my very similar slide deck to prior years, updated for 2025 numbers. The slide deck will be put up on the website along with the ordinance, the budget document itself, so you can refer back to that. So just know that you'll have access to these slides after the presentation. So, hold on 1 second. It's on my screen, fortunately you can't. So just to jump in kind of with the property tax snapshot, basically I'll go into more detail on the municipal budget towards the end of my presentation. But what I'm presenting here is the total amount to be raised by property taxes across all uses, municipal, schools, county, and library tax. And I have some other charts that will kind of show this in different ways. But essentially what we're looking at is an increase of about 2.2 million in the amount to be raised by property tax across all uses. And I'm presenting to you the total assessed value because essentially how the property taxes are calculated and how the bill is calculated is you take the amount to be raised, you divide it by total assessed value, and that's how you get your rate. So essentially you can see we have a rate when we look between 2024 and 2025, we see an increase of about 0.104 per $100 assessed between those 2 years. I do mention estimated, I should just, for 2025, the reason I'm estimating, I'm basing those numbers on the most recent numbers given to us by the Board of Ed, but it's my understanding their public hearing isn't to the end of April, and those numbers may change a little bit. And it's based on, I believe, the county numbers as introduced, but again, they could change a little bit. So, but this gives you a general picture. What that means for the average property tax bill, in 2025, the average assessment is 481.5. That's basically the tax assessors taking for single family homes what the average assessment is in town. That's his number. And so if you apply that rate to that average assessment, you get a bill that looks like $12,882.74, which is $542 more than the 2024 bill for the year. So that's about a 4.4% increase, or $45 a month, just to kind of put it into different terms. So taking those numbers, and just I'll show it in a different way. This pie chart shows the allocation of those funds and those tax dollars. As you can see, 60% funds the municipal schools, Irving, Bartle, the middle school and the high school. 26 of that goes to the municipal budget. The budget we'll talk about more shortly. So basically, 26 cents on every dollar of that tax bill is funding municipal operations. And that's inclusive of everything that we do. 12% is going towards the Middlesex County taxes, 1% towards specifically the open space tax. And then 1% of this pie is towards the library statutory minimum requirement. As you'll see in future slides, we actually fund well over the minimum amount, but 1% is the libraries by statute. So I'm showing that here. And just breaking it down along the same lines as I did before, 60, 26, 12, 1 and 1, but you're looking at for the average assessed bill at $12,882.74. The schools portion is about $650 per month. Just trying to put it, the municipal share is about $278 per month, and so forth. This is just another way to kind of look at the same numbers. But we're here introducing the municipal budget, so I'm going to kind of pivot at this point and take a quick look at what's going on with the municipal portion of that pie chart, that 26%. Total appropriations did go up by 0.918 million. That's about 2.8% over prior year, 2024. But I think it was interesting because when I looked at these numbers, I was pretty surprised. But one big difference between this year and last year, if you look at total appropriations subtracting out grant appropriations, and the reason I do that is grants are specifically offset by revenue, not raised by taxes. So if you take that out, the change over the prior year is really more like $54,000 a year. And that's in a large part due to the tremendous job we did securing a large legislative aid grant for South 3rd Avenue Public Plaza, $1 million grant. So that's a big change from prior year, just to kind of, I thought it was important to show that. And then the amount raised by taxes went up by about $416,000. I should mention that we had about an increase in debt service of about $400,000. So we're really, the majority of the increase over last year in our budget, we had very little control, but I'll show you that. So just to kind of go into that same analysis, the municipal portion of the tax bill for the average assessed one at $481,500 is $3,330.94 in 2025, based on the budget that's being discussed tonight. And that's $105 more per year for that typical household, or average assessed, I should say. That's 2% over prior year. I just present it down to $26 a quarter, or $875 a month. Just different ways of thinking that amount. And then drilling down on that further, I mentioned the total appropriations. The amount here is the amount to be raised by taxes, 14 million, but our total appropriations are 22 million and change there. 25% covers our public safety budget. That includes police, fire, our dispatch contract with Rutgers, municipal court, all those things that are in Councilman George's portfolio fall in that budget. I should mention though, that's salaries and wages. However, pension and Social Security and unemployment are covered under statutory and insurance in a different part of the budget. So, and that's true across all departments. The next largest kind of pot departmentally is Public Works, 16%. But that's inclusive of garbage, recycling, including not just the cost of picking it up and taking it to the facilities, but also the tipping fees at the, you name it, it's included in that amount. Buildings and grounds, custodial contracts, what have you, facilities, maintenance, repairs, those are all included in that 16% number. There are some road improvements on there, but they are the smaller ones like potholes and things like that. Larger roadways are covered under typically capital improvements. And you heard earlier, or a capital ordinance to work on some roads. So while we pay for that in the debt service, that's covered in a different portion. 21% of the budget goes towards statutory insurance costs. That's the pension, that's PFRS is the police fire retirement, public employees retirement, Social Security unemployment, and then a big and it's about even between these two. And then insurance is about 10%. So that they're about 10% each of our budget are just for those important things. Capital improvement and debt, that's road capital projects like roads and building upgrades. And those are covered in this area as part of our debt service. Once that debt is authorized, we have to pay it back over time and we have to budget to make those payments. As I mentioned, we had a very good kind of start to the grant year. 9% of this budget is our grants that we have, the legislative aid grant, as well as the NPP program on Woodbridge Avenue, our CDBG for the time being we have, that's a federal grant, our recycling tonnage grant that we get every year from the state of New Jersey. Those grants are there. I should mention that that number will go up as the year goes forward because there are grants we apply for at different points during the year that we won't know the outcome until later this year. So they're not available to us to include in the budget at this time. And last, but certainly not least, is our library. And I just noticed, I knew there'd be a typo. The color of the square does not match the pie chart, but the 5% is correct, goes towards the library. And as I mentioned, we fund well over the statutory requirement. We fund about 1.2 million of the library, and that's about $527,000 more than required. We've made a lot of investments in the library lately in the physical, and this budget also goes towards their salaries and kind of day-to-day upkeep of the building. So that's kind of how our budget is allocated. So that's all I have on the municipal budget. I'm going to pivot over to the utility budget. And it's a snapshot in a way, and I don't get into a lot of pie charts on this one because it is a pretty simple budget. 40% of that budget goes towards the purchase of water. Fortunately, we did not experience as large of an increase in the amount that we pay for water as we anticipated in 2024. So we're able to hold that number flat in 2025. So we did not change our budget for purchase of water. Again, we purchase water from Middlesex Water Company, their plant over in Edison. Operations and maintenance of the utility, that's our contract with USA Highland Park, a subsidiary of Middlesex Water, to operate the day-to-day functions of the utility. That's one of the largest aspects of that bill, but that also includes our emergency repairs. Councilmember Hirsch mentioned some water main repairs, and we fund a large number of those through our operating budget. So that 29% covers a lot of just the day-to-day management of the utility. MCUA, the Middlesex County Utility Authority, they process all the sewer that the borough sends their way, and that's 24% of our budget. We were fortunate in that they estimated us lower than last year. That can vary from year to year, but fortunately, so we brought the number down. However, next year, depending on our actuals, that number could go up. But fortunately, we stabilized the utility over the last few years, and we have some surplus that can help ease some of those periodic increases. And then the last item is capital and debt service that makes up 7% of this budget. It went down because our payments owed went down this year by 3,400. I think we have some debt falling away the next couple of years. We're starting to see that number down. So the total budget change actually went down by 168,208. And that's pretty much the utility budget. We don't anticipate, we did have to do a rate increase last year. We don't anticipate needing that this year. And we're feeling pretty good about, our projections. So that's the utility budget. And then the last thing I wanted to walk through that's in the municipal budget is also what's called the capital improvement plan. So this is just a highlight of that capital improvement plan. It's a plan. It isn't necessarily what is actually going to be done this year. That all has to be authorized by council. Any additional funding that isn't already secured will have to be authorized by council by bond ordinance, a capital ordinance, or some other funding. But what we put in the plans, just to give you a sense of what we're thinking maybe on deck for 2025, we know we have a serious roof situation at the beloved environmental center, and RICES has been wonderful partners trying to work on solutions, and in the meantime, tarping and keeping things secure in the building. But we are going to have to face that improvement. We need some fire alarm upgrades throughout several borough buildings. We need some sidewalk repairs and parking lot resurfacing around some of our buildings. We mentioned Mollymock Rat Park upgrades, so that's on deck. Hopefully we have some grant funding. We may have to match some of that funding with our own funds. Public Works, we have some repairs needed and upgrades in motor pool with respect to the garage, some heavy duty vehicle replacements that are on deck. In the utility, we're anticipating coming back to council for authorization to do upgrades to water and sewer mains on South Third related to our proposed plaza in advance of said plaza. And that's going to be a priority for us this year. And just some roadway projects that are coming up. These are primarily funded through grants from the NJDOT. The first two, Highland Ave, minimal because PSE&G came through and did those roads, but we have Graham Street, South 8th, North 10th, and Volker, as we mentioned earlier. And then Woodbridge Avenue, hopefully Middlesex County will get that out to bid, and we'll see that. I've carried that project over in this presentation now 3 times. And so we're really hopeful to get that bid out. But that is a project we're doing with the county, and we have to, we're a partner and they're handling the bid process for that. And just to highlight some projects that were on this list last year that are currently underway, the community center bathrooms, the roof replacement. We also got a lovely facelift on the painting in the building and on the floors that were done through our redevelopment agreement with the school on Cleveland Avenue. We have already underway, Vortex is in town working on the sewer main lining project. And then we have our water service line inventory and test pit program underway. That's essentially, we're doing a hydro excavation of the unknown water service lines in town, so we can know if we've got lead or galvanized pipes that we need to deal with and address in our replacement plan. So I think that brings me to my last slide. Yes, and Mayor, I'll close there.
Thank you. Okay. May I have a motion on the introduction of the resolution, the 4-25-103, 2025 municipal budget for first reading on title and scheduled for public hearing on May 6th, 2025.
So
Second.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hurst,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Clerk, please report on the introduction of the 2025 Main Street Island Park budget.
By the Borough Council of the Borough of Highland Park, the following statements of revenue and appropriations shall constitute the Main Street Highland Park budget for the year 2025. Said budget shall be published in the Home News Tribune, Albury Park, New Jersey, in the issue of April 6, 2025. A hearing on the Main Street Highland Park Business Improvement District budget will be held on Tuesday, May 6, 2025, council meeting in Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue at 7 p.m., at which time and place objections may be said objections to said budget and resolution for the year 2025 may be presented.
May I have introduction of 4-25-105-2025 Main Street Highland Park project on first reading by title and scheduled for hearing on May 6, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Abstain.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
May I have a motion to adopt or reject resolution 4-25-105, resolution authorizing amendment to 2025 temporary budget?
So
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
And now we move to the consent agenda. May I ask any council member if they have anything that they wish to pull and separate from the consent agenda? See none. May I have a motion to adopt or reject the following consent agenda items, 14A through 14I?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
And now appointments, Public Information Committee and Verdeman Board of Ed Representative, Board of Health, Marion Costanza. May I have a motion to confirm?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Ann is great, Marion is great. Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Okay, Library Board of Trustees, Harry Glazer, Mayor's designee, no confirmation needed. Now it's time for second public participation. 3 minutes per speaker on any topic, subject to conclude by 9 p.m. Comments from members of the public attending in person will be heard first, followed by those on Zoom. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Alan Liebman, 119 North 7th Avenue, Highland Park. I had a couple of quick things. First, we heard earlier some very appropriate commendatory remarks about Senator Booker, what he's fighting for and standing for. And some very appropriate condemnatory remarks about what the administration in Washington is doing to jeopardize many of the things that we assume were forever and always part of American democracy, whether they're communities, our laws, our foreign alliances, the fabric of our democracy. One thing that we can do to stand for the principles that many of us believe in is to work with some of the many good community organizations in Highland Park. And to shout out one in particular, the Reformed Church in Highland Park under Pastor Seth Caverdale. They do wonderful work with communities that are in jeopardy, voiceless, powerless, and in need of help. I've had the great privilege since I retired over 5 years ago to do various volunteer items of work for that church. Many others have done far more than I have. But it's been very rewarding to me. And so I would encourage anyone here who are listening or watching to find time to support any of the many good organizations that we have in town that do the necessary work to protect people who are in the greatest jeopardy at this very moment. So I hope people will find time to do that. The second point I want to make has to do with an issue I raised at a January meeting of the council, which I spoke for the first time. Years. It was specifically a public safety issue. Councilwoman George is not here tonight, but our police department is represented. And it was about the profligate disregard that drivers in this town have for the traffic laws in this town. a particular concern was the tendency of many drivers to ignore the stop signs on streets and intersections off Raritan Avenue. I gave an example of the neighborhood where I live, Abbott and 8th. If you stood there with a video camera on a given day, I'm sure you would find dozens of violations.
30 seconds.
People treat the stop signs as yields. They roll through them on their way to get to the other side to make a turn. They're speeding on 8th as well, but I think the stop sign disobedience is a critical issue. I was told at that council meeting by Councilmember George that there was an upcoming meeting with the police department to discuss a plan or a response. It's been 2 months. I've not heard anything. I've not seen anything out of the council or the mayor's office. And I hope that there is in process some plan to do something before a life is lost. By then it'll be too late to do something. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, Borough Council. I'm Khadija Hanhazi, South Second Avenue. I'm here tonight just to encourage the borough in its efforts for redevelopment to please reconsider using the tool of condemnation in eminent domain against classic cleaners. I understand and I fully support the borough in their efforts of redevelopment because our downtown really does need it. And I do think the eminent domain is a very useful tool in redeveloping our downtown. But I do think that it is misapplied in this instance. Classic Cleaners has been in business for 75 years and the last 30 years operated by its current owners. And that building is more than just the value, market value of the building. It is a business in its entirety. It's my belief that, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so nervous in speaking about this. I don't have any skin in the game other than I really do support the redevelopment of our downtown, and I fully am behind the borough and all of its efforts that it's made to acquire all of the property that it's acquired and its plan to make our downtown greater. But I do think that this is a really bad look for the borough. I don't think that you should reward a company that's been in business 30 years in this borough with condemnation, offering him the value of the business of the building does not at all satisfy how much it costs for him to lose his business. I just think this is a bad look for the borough, and I wish that the borough would reconsider using condemnation and eminent domain as a tool for achieving its goal of redevelopment. I know that this one building poses a hole in the donut of this grander plan, but I would implore you to please find a more creative solution and leaving that business there. I think it's important for the community, and I do think that this sends the wrong message to other people who would like to purchase buildings in this town and invest in buildings and invest in their businesses in this town that are not large developments. And it sends a bad message or the wrong message to other small business owners that if they invest in this town in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, when the borough wants to develop that block, are they going to lose their businesses? So I would just ask that you reconsider this and find a more creative solution that keeps this business where it is and that building intact. Thank you.
Anyone on Zoom, Terry? Anybody?
There is one hand up.
Good evening. I'm Charlie Prattville, live on Sedan Street, New Brunswick. Pleased to be with you tonight in Highland Park. I am here to ask about a disturbing video I saw on HPTV, the February 27, 2025 Rent Control Board meeting. By this time, I imagine you're all acquainted with the facts of what took place there, and maybe you've seen at least some of the recording. So I wanted to ask Mayor Foster if you had any reaction to what happened at that meeting.
You may not be aware of our procedure. You put all your questions and then we'll close the public session, then we decide if we're gonna go through and answer questions.
Really? And-
Really.
And for what purpose is that rule in effect now? I've spoken here many times before and been able to have dialogue in real time and ask questions. What's the purpose then? What is the purpose of that rule where you're now saying you won't answer my questions when I ask them?
I just explained to you what it is.
No, I didn't hear a purpose.
Borough Attorney, would you like to explain what we have implemented in place for public discussion?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Kravitz, for your comments. What ends up happening, our procedure that we implemented last February is that everyone has to put their comments and questions on the record, and then the public portion is closed. And then at that point, the mayor then either responds to the comments or questions, looks into it, or appoints someone on the dais to respond to your questions and comments. Thank you.
Well, it's unfortunate that the council would take action to limit, suppress dialogue, and it seems pretty obvious that the main effect is that you limit follow-up questions. So I can't get an answer to a question and ask a follow-up question in the same night, thanks to this policy. So that's very unfortunate, Mayor and Council. But what I will say is I'm very concerned about what I saw in that meeting video. I saw the attorney, first of all, represent the borough here tonight, but also represent the Rent Control Board. I think the Rent Control Board would be better served to have its own attorney. And I'm just a layperson, I'm not an attorney, but I'm pretty sure the attorney gave some bad advice to the Rent Control Board that night. And I know at least one of you was there, Ms. Kim Chohan. And for instance, you asked at one point, hey, can we go to an executive session? And correct me if I'm wrong, but you can introduce a resolution at any time to enter an executive session. It need not be advance notice under the OPMA. And the attorney told you can't. Gave you bad advice, told you the wrong thing. Additionally, I would ask through you, Mayor, for the attorney-client privilege. Who holds that privilege? Is it the attorney or is it the client? Because my understanding is it's the client that holds the privilege, but your attorney was trying to use attorney-client privilege to bully the board members to not be able to talk about something that was confidential in her mind, but the board members were free to speak about. And I would like her to address that question. Is attorney-client privilege her privilege or is it the client's privilege? Because I've never seen anything like that and I watch a lot of government meetings. I've never seen an attorney fight with their client in front of the public. That was really inappropriate and unprofessional. And I would like some type of response from the elected leaders, because notably, nobody elected the attorney. People want to hear from their elected officials. And I'm sorry you have this policy where you're not answering questions. I hope you'll change that right away, right now.
Time. Anyone else?
We still have a hand up, Alan.
I believe Lois Leving, if that's you, can you just confirm that?
Hi again, Lois Leving, North Second Avenue. Two subjects, and I congratulate the last speaker, the gentleman. I couldn't hear much, but I agree. This is, it's pretty funny that they answer some questions at the end, and mostly they don't. But okay, on windy days like today, could please DPW, especially during March, April, could they stack together a few of the round recycling cans someone might put out, or at least invert the cans so that they might not run into the street and block traffic? That's my one request. My second subject is classic cleaners. I know that's not litigation, but it's top secret. And you're supposed to be paying fair market value, I imagine, the average of 3 assessments for the land and the building. I wonder who pays for the loss of the business, who pays for the equipment, et cetera, et cetera. I wonder why the Lees, owners of the classic cleaners, don't seem to be getting the same treatment that Ubrees, their neighbor, had gotten when somebody found and purchased, the town purchased a 3-bay not a two-bay garage, as the first mistake was made purchasing a two-bay for Ubrees. And the Lees didn't get the dry cleaner that just moved out on Raritan Avenue under Dominic's office, 705, 707 Raritan. He had the dry cleaners on one side, now a barber shop, and to the right was the bargain box that went out. I don't know who in redevelopment didn't put a word in asking for those two structures, the two storefronts, and then simply open them up together with a doorway of some sort under the staircase that leads up to Dominic's. Why aren't the Lees getting it? It's just very unbalanced. If indeed they don't end up getting something similar like Ubrees, and you had an opportunity a few years ago to purchase 810 North 2nd Avenue down at the end where Hilltop Lab had been. It's still vacant. That has a parking lot, that has a block building. I don't know what the neighbors would think, but that would be the boom. There's a business that I don't see a place for them to move to in town. What's the deal? They have to clean their land. The Environmental Protection Act of, what is it, hazardous waste list has Highland Park's gun shop, Borough. The vacant property at 133 Raritan Avenue is still on the active list, needs to be cleaned. So why in the world, why can't developer Deborah leave the building, lease it back, purchase it in 10, 15, 20 years from the lease? And then like Somerville redeveloped Main Street. There's a wonderful walkway, an arched area, roofed, got benches, I'm sure video cameras and lights. You walk from the parking in the rear to the main street, and it's lovely. So why can't that be a cleaners, that amenity, for a decade or two? And then you remove that from in between the residential development, the wall of Lego blocks. And then you have a parkway, a little walkway, a little greenery, a couple flowers. That's all. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Okay, seeing there's no further comments from members of the public or online, may I have a motion to close public session, public participation?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hill.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
In regards to the traffic concerns over on Abington North 8, Councilmember George is not here, but I would suggest that, Mr. Allen, that you speak with our chief and try to see if there was some kind of discussion that was had, so you can get some clear answers. And, you know, I'm quite sure they'll try to put some kind of traffic calming devices in that area to alert people of how fast they're going on the streets. And yes, we all need to get involved and support organizations. It's now more than ever that we're going to need to do that kind of support. As it pertains to classic cleaners, last meeting, our borough attorney Bauman came in and he explained what the process was. And it's quite a lengthy process before it gets anywhere near eminent domain. And we have been having conversation with Mr. Lee, so we hope that the conversation will continue. So that's on that, that's on that. And Raisis is gonna stay, and we hope to get some money to fix the top of the building, to fix the roof. And that's it for my comments on that. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Seriously? Wow,
All in favor?
that's pretty
Hold on a
fast.
second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. May, who adjourned?
I need a second.
I need a second.
I would.
Yeah. All in favor? Next meeting is scheduled for April 15th at 7 p.m. Thank you.